Hi guys, and welcome to another Bootstrap 4 website build with the brackets text editor. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. In our last videos we added scroll spy and smooth scroll to our site so it scrolls down to where we want it to go. And what we're going to do in this one is add another section. We're going to add a team section, and we're going to add a gradient background this time to our site. So if we open our Bootstrap 4 project folder, here's our site that we've built from scratch. We want to open the index.html file with our brackets software. For those that have not been watching, as usual, brackets is free. And it's downloadable from a link just below this video. And for our purposes we're going to be using some extensions, Extension Manager. And here are the installed ones. For anybody that doesn't have them, just hit the available, put Bootstrap in the search there and you can download them. They're all free. You just have to drag the zip file over here and it'll load it for you. And we're going to be using the Bootstrap 4 snippets. Just hit the more info link and it'll give you all the shortcodes that are available for that particular extension. So let's close that. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drop to the bottom of our last section, which was that sign up form. I'm going to start a new section. I'm going to give it the ID equals, open and close inverted commas, team, so we can scroll from it to it from the menu up there. And let's just close that out and drop it down. Now I'm going to use one of our extension shortcodes here. I'm just going to do a 3-column example, or I'm going to convert it to a 2-column example. So it's Control Shift and E should insert that for me. So I'll just put my cursor below, tab over, hit Control Shift and E. There we are. It's given us a nice little container here with 3 columns in it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take those away. Because as we will see, the great thing about Bootstrap 4 is, let's get rid of the second one because we only want 2 columns. If you create a row and you just put 2 columns in it, it'll automatically size those columns for you. So it'll just automatically size them. Before we'd have to put column small 6 or column medium 6 if we wanted to, column medium 4 if we wanted 3, column medium 3 if we wanted 4, etc. Okay, so we call this section team, and let's put some content in there. In this first column I want to put an image. I'm going to open some brackets. I'm going to put image. I'm going to put source src from where it's coming from, and it's prompted us already, and it's in our image folder. And the image I actually want, I think I called it team. I'd already put it in there. There it is right there. Once it's in there you can just hover it and it will show you the image you're putting in. I want to give it the class of image fluid so it fills the available space. So that's img fluid, fluid. So it'll fill up the available space that it's got there. And all images have to have an alt tag, and I'll just call it team. Okay, so that's all I want in that first column there. In the second column I just want a few paragraphs of text. So let's give this column a class of not only column but text center, because I want it centered, I think. Well, actually no, let's try it text left first. We can always center it afterwards. And let's add an H2, heading 2. And call it our team. Funny enough. And then underneath that, let's do a bit of paragraph text. Control P. And we'll just put some dummy filler text in there. We'll use some of what we've got up here. For anybody that needs it, you can go to ipsum.com or just Google Lorem Ipsum to find dummy text if you need it for your site. Alright. Okay, so we've added a section. We've added a container. And inside that container, we've got a row that has 2 columns in it. One with an image and one with some text. So let's save this and see what it's done. Quick refresh and scroll down. There we go. There's our image that I put in there. And here's the text that I put in there. Now what we want to do, I want to squash that image down a little bit because at the minute it's got no padding whatsoever. And I want to put this down a little bit too. So let's open our CSS file and add some CSS and put a bit of spacing in here, and we'll give it a gradient background. So here's our folder. Here's our CSS folder. Inside is our custom CSS. Let's open that with our bracket software. And here's the CSS that we've written already. Okay, our new section we called team. So let's give it some padding top and bottom. Because it's an ID, we need to do hashtag rather than just dot for the CSS. So let's drop down and give it a new title. / **/ I'll write the title in between the stars there, and we're just going to call it team. And as I said, because it's an ID and not a class, we could add a class and call it something. You've got to use a hashtag and then team. Now let's open and close some curly brackets and put our CSS in between. So let's do padding top and bottom. Let's start with 50 pixels. We can always change it afterwards. So padding. First attribute's going to be, if we put one attribute, it'll be top, bottom, left and right. So for instance, that would give it padding top, bottom, left and right of 50 pixels. If we give it 2 attributes, let's give it just 10 pixels there. First one, 50 pixels, is top and bottom. Second one is left and right. So it's got 50 pixels top and bottom, 10 pixels left and right. Just save that. Control S, back to our site. Make sure it's going to work for us. Now when we refresh, we should have some padding on the top and padding on the bottom. There we go. It's dropped it down. I think I might even make that 100. Get it a little more in line with the padding that we've got there. But what I also want to do is give it a gradient. What I'm going to use is this blue color that we've got going on here. And if I open up Photoshop, here's the blue color that we got. So I just need to open my color palette up. And I want to use a color that's a little bit darker. So we got a sort of gradient going down. That'll probably do it. I just want to copy and make a note of this color. Just close that out. So we've got our original color and our new color. I've just made a note of that in a notepad. And now what we need to do is go to our CSS and put in a gradient background. And we'll change that text to a light colored text. So let's go back to our CSS file. And let's add our gradient. So we want to write background. And then of course a colon. Then what do we want? We want a gradient, so it's linear, L-I-N-E-A-R dash gradient. And then we want some regular brackets with no space. You don't want any space here. If you put a space in, it will not work. And now I've got my two colors in a notepad over here. I'm just going to copy and paste them in between the brackets there. There's our first color, and there's our other color, which is slightly darker. So it'll be a gradient nonetheless, but it won't be too obvious, which is quite often the best way to do things with gradients. Don't make them too obvious. Okay, and semicolon on the end. Let's save that and go back to our site, and that should have put that gradient in there for us. And let's do a refresh. And there's our gradient. As you can see, it's slightly lighter at the top than it is at the bottom, which was just what I was looking for. Okay, let's add a bit more text there. Let's make this text light. And we'll add some padding around this image so it gets slightly smaller. So let's go back to our brackets text editor, to our HTML. And if you remember before, Bootstrap 4's got some awesome padding classes. So I'm just going to add some padding to this column here. I'm going to give it a padding 5, which is the maximum that you can do with this little trick, and that'll resize that image and giving it a bunch of padding. And this column, I'm going to give it, say, padding, I guess I'll give it padding 5 as well. That way they'll remain the same sort of height. So let's just give that P5 as well. And this one I'm also going to give the class of text light, and that should change that text to a light color. And like I say, I may want to add a little bit more text to this. Let's just take a line and repeat it. It's dummy text, it's gibberish anyway, so it doesn't matter what we write in here. Obviously, if you're building this, you're going to have some proper content to put in there. Alright, let's save that and go back to the site and refresh. There we go. It's made that text nice and light, and it's also made that image slightly smaller. So there we have it. We've quickly added another little section there with a gradient background. Now what we want to do, last thing, is just hook it up to our team section right here. And that's very easy to do, because at the moment when we click on team, it doesn't go anywhere. It just goes to the top. About section goes to the about. But we want the team section now to go down to our team section here. Let's go back to our brackets. Back up to our nav bar, and all we need to do, I'll just scroll back down, I'm sure you know this already, is give it hashtag, the link to hashtag team, because that's our section ID here. So let's go up. Here's our team. It's already got a hashtag in there. Let's just write team. Save it. Control S. Back to our site. Now if we go back up to the top and refresh, our team button should take it down to the team site. There we go. Just what we wanted. And our scroll spire is working, so each section it goes to, our little underline at the top will underline the viewable section. So there you have it. That's how to add a little gradient background with a couple of columns to our new site here. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're interested in web development, take one of our courses below. We have some great discounts for our YouTube subscribers, and we also have some great free courses down there. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.